Thank you very much, Lee, and welcome, fellow explorers. By popular demand, here we are to talk about smartphones. We did a webinar back in August on expedition photography, which got very technical. So we're going for the easy approach today of your phone. So brilliant. I'm joined by one of our expedition photographers, Jan, and also one of our frustrated photographers, Verena Moraldi, who is also our chief scientist. So we're well served. And also in the background, we are joined by two further other expedition photographers who are currently at sea in Antarctica. We've got Kay and Yuri, and also our master of everything. Ollie is with us in the back. I'll go through our introduction. We will go through, I've skipped a slide, we'll go through why we use smartphones, top tips by panelists, and question and answers. If you do have questions as we go through, of course, I mentioned we've got Yuri and Kay in the background, then please tap away and they can answer your questions as we go. But we will have a question and answer session at the end. So we will keep the main themes at the end and put them to the panel. Just a reminder, those that may be new to HX, we sail very much polar regions, but places in between, and this is a map of where we go. All our expeditions are that mix between uh, adventure, very much about taking you to places you can't go in other ways. So we take you out in our small boats for landing, small boat cruising, of course, also use our ships. So going to some most incredible places in the world. Okay, as that's the way of introduction, but now we're going to talk about why do we use smartphones on our expeditions, or why should you use, or potentially use. Jan, you're an expedition photographer. You walk around with thousands of dollars worth of glass around your neck. Why would you or our guests
Thank you, Tudor.
use
Yeah,
smartphones?
thank you, Tudor. Usually when I have workshops on board MS Fram, I'm very often asked the question if the guest should buy DLSR or more like a cell phone. And I'm usually saying, unless you are wildlife enthusiast and you really want to capture the close-ups, I would go for one of the newer smartphones. And I was testing them. I was testing the newest Apple devices and also Android. We will get to this topic slightly later. And the best thing about mobile phone cameras, they are handy, they are fast, you always have them with you. And the recent days, I'm talking about the newer, let's say 2 years old, and the newer cell phones have absolutely crisp and great pictures as well.
Yes. And if I may add, one of the biggest advantages also is that you can just fit it on your pocket very conveniently.
Absolutely, that's another topic. And also, I see very often on boards of our vessels that some of our guests are struggling to actually get the photos to their iPads or computers, etc. And if we are starting to use mobile phones slightly more, the pictures you are getting are actually slightly edited already. They are in the certain picture profile. That's why your, for example, iPhone or Android photos looks more colorful than the photos you are getting from the camera. So you can straight away share it, obviously, on your WhatsApp, and you can send it to your families. So I think that even though it makes me a little bit sad because I'm a photography lover and I love to have camera with me. The time of mobile phones is coming. And one of the maybe most important things is I hope that you all share the same opinion. You have a great photographer on board who is making everything to capture the most beautiful pictures, which you will actually receive. So what I'm telling my guests very often, just enjoy the whale encounter, enjoy the polar bear encounter, snap few photos. And if you then see me with the lens for 20,000 US dollars, I promise. I promise I will do everything to actually share with you the great photos and videos I will capture.
And we have got some amazing photographers here in the call with Jan and also Kay and Yuri in the background. In terms of photography and social media, we do have these incredible tools at our hands and the power of a phone, but it's not all just about point and shoot. There's a lot to it. Verena, I believe these photos are yours. Tell us a bit about the sort of the basics before we get Jan getting technical about taking a photo.
Well, Jan made us all jealous about his 20,000 equipment, probably. But
it's owned by Sony. It's not mine.
Okay. But then again, it is not all about the equipment, like you said. I mean, it also what matters the most is what you made out of the tools that you have in hand. And this simple exercise is a good example. You can just focus on the mountain and get a great picture. But then if you move it a little bit and add the sun and give it a bit more of dramatic look, then you end up with two very different images that both were taken with a phone. So yes, very, very good example for what we are trying to show here.
Excellent. So regardless of course, expensive cameras in a way can't be replaced, but maybe we'll debate that a bit later. But the basics of photography, whether it's through a mobile phone, cell phone, smartphone, stay the same as if you're with a digital SLR or whatever. But what are the main ingredients, Jan, that we need to look at?
It's always you can see them on the screen, and the story is always making the photography shine. Of course, I'm always saying go to take photos when your shadow is at least 2 meters long. So that's a blue hour and golden hour. Sometimes we are sailing in the little bit challenging conditions with photography, because of course on Svalbard you are 1,000 kilometers south from the North Pole. So most of the time we are spending in Svalbard. We have a polar day with no sunsets and sunrises. But you should always, not always, mostly you should have sun on your shoulders. So before you take photos, have a look where the sun is, and then try to point your camera in opposite direction. Yes. Story makes everything, as I said, shining a little bit more. So if you have a partner on your expedition cruise, just bring him a little bit closer to the camera. If you have some, for example, in my case, in MS Fram, you have some king penguins in the background, let him make thumbs up and create beautiful portraits with the penguins in the bouquet. Try to tell the story, and also the scale will be visible, because if you will be landing on some of the places we are landing, you are basically in the middle of penguin colony with tens of thousands species, and it's absolutely amazing. So you can see it on my background, actually. That's Salisbury Plain, South Georgia. So I would say those are 3 components we should look for when we are taking those expedition photos with the cell phone. And one more quick advice, for example, on Svalbard, because in Antarctica we cannot go down on our knees, but in Svalbard you can do it, and you can actually easily swap the position of your lenses and get directly to the ground. You can get beautiful reflection from the pond and stuff like this.
Excellent. Yeah, lots of potential to capture those magic memories and moments. We're going to talk a little bit about sort of tips and tricks on this, but Verena, in terms of getting a good shot with your phone, talk us through. We've put about the grid on here. Talk us through about how that helps us.
Well, it's you need to follow the same basic photography rules that we covered on the previous webinar. One of those is being maybe following some lines to guide your photography, or putting things into the 3 tiers of your screen. So to facilitate that, you can actually activate the grid on your phones, and that will help you in the composition making of the image. In this example, you see that it is perfectly aligned on the grid, and you have your main focus on the big boulder that is standing in front of you, and you are actually focusing on that image. So it's a very good way to help you, get the right image that you want to capture.
Excellent. And Jan, we have on particularly on phones, but there's the opportunity to zoom to a massive extent. Talk us a bit about how we should use the zoom on our phones.
If you can see the numbers like 1, 2, 3, you can actually zoom even between them, which is like a 1.5, 2.5, 2.7, etc. Always go with the full numbers, let's say 1, 2, 3, because those are optical zooms. All the numbers between are digital, so the quality of the photography is going down. That's one of the things. Also, for wildlife photography, which will be next slide, I believe, there is an option of burst. Every mobile phone has it different. You can easily Google it. And if you find the option how to do it, you can make more pictures in a row, which will help you, for example, if you have a surfacing dolphins or birds flying around.
Well, lovely frigate birds in the Galapagos. I believe these are yours as well, Verena. But was that taken on burst mode?
No, it was one still, but using the zoom, the full number zoom on my phone, as Jan explained.
Yeah.
Really, really helps a lot with the quality of your image. But another thing that can help is that if you set up your camera to always be shooting on the highest quality, the 4K for the video and the highest possible quality for the pictures.
Yes, absolutely. And in my newest version, if some of you are having the newest version, I can also choose between JPEG and a RAW format, which is showing that even the companies which are developing the mobile phones, they go a little bit more for the photography, and they can offer more editing possibilities with a RAW picture.
And is that the main difference, Jan? That with RAW, you can put it into Lightroom or whatever program,
Absolutely,
and really play with it.
You can, with the RAW format, you can play much more with the highlights, shadows, with the colors, and basically, photography is a form of art, or at least 20 years ago, it was a form of art, and we can have a deep philosophical debate about if it is or if it's not. But with RAW format, you can actually post-process the photo how you actually saw it. So,
well, certainly you guys that are doing it for a living do some amazing magic, which I would call art. We haven't actually got burst mode next, but that's a bit later now. But one of the things, Jan, when we were talking before, and you brought up some really important points about aspect ratio, particularly with phones and how we intend to use the photos. Give us a little talk about
yes,
how we should take our photos.
So from my perspective, one of the best advices I can give you about taking a single picture, like a general advice, is shoot always slightly bigger. So if you have something what you want to capture in your photography, give it extra 10 or 15% above, below, and on the sides, which will help you, because crop factor is one of the most important editing tools which can help you. And on this photo, I wanted to just show you. You can see on the sides, you can see the aspect ratios, when 16.9 is actually aspect ratio of the screens, of the TVs and of the computer screens. 3.2 and 4.3 are the aspect ratios we were using in the photography previously. And for example, 1:1 was very common for Instagram. So basically, if you will flip the 16:9 to 9:16, that's the modern social media. So if you want to make a post on a social media, on your stories, to show your followers and friends what is happening, it's best to take it with the phone on 9:16, and then everything what you want to have actually in the frame you have, and you don't have to crop, which is actually, you will be losing quality a little bit.
And I think it's fair to say social media is a kind of big factor in, particularly, I guess, in mobile phone photography, and that it's so instant and you can share what you're doing. It, of course, it's not for everyone, but it's really useful to know if you are using those social media platforms, how to maximize the effect of your photos.
And also, if I can quickly, it's not easy. It's not easy to get a proper colors when you're taking photos from your camera to your laptop to your cell phone and then to social media. The social media are set to get the photos directly from your phone, and it's much more intuitive for the system. So you make a photo with Apple, you put it on the social media, and it has a proper colors. With camera, it can be slightly harder. Different, yeah.
Every day's a learning day. I'm learning a lot as well. So thank you. Hopefully all our explorers are enjoying sharing your wisdom. So wildlife photography on a phone, you spoke a bit, Jan, about being able to hold your mobile phone lower to the ground. But maybe, Verena, I believe these are your penguin photos. Talk us a bit about what you're trying to get here in these photos and demonstrate to our fellow explorers.
Well, there is a lot of factors that you need to consider also when taking pictures in a place that is mainly white. Sometimes that can be a super attractive thing, because then you can isolate your topic or your subject from the rest of the image. But otherwise, you also need to consider the distance to the animals. In Antarctica, for example, you are allowed to approach the penguins to 5 meters, which is already good enough to get a nice portrait or detail of the beak of a penguin using the zooms, the optical zooms. You can also focus on the movement of the animals, or also try to capture the effect of the wind, water, and the environment that you are photographing. So it's always nice to take 5-10 minutes before you start shooting to analyze the area where you are at that time. But it's and one other amazing thing about digital photography, phone photography, is that you can take as many pictures as you want and then just choose your best shots before turning off the light that night.
Yeah, and then it's a good tip to do that, because otherwise you end up paying for lots of cloud storage of stuff that you should have deleted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a one more general thing I would like to say. Many of our guests are bringing their iPads, and they are actually not connecting to the cloud on the vessel, because of course we are sailing in Antarctica and Arctic, so of course the internet connection is slightly limited, so we cannot have 400 people connected to the clouds and renewing the pictures all the time. So when we have a crowd like this, it's a quite good thing to know that your cloud will actually you will not be able to look to the picture which is 2 years ago, and the new pictures will not be getting to the cloud.
Excellent. Continuing on the wildlife and behavior, Jan, I think these are Verena's pictures, but I'm going to ask you to talk about capturing how to capture the behavior, the importance. Yeah.
I'm always saying, like, I know that it's you getting to the landing site, and usually it's absolutely mind-blowing and gorgeous, and people are starting shooting. Sometimes after 1 hour they are going back and, oh my god, I have 3,000 pictures. It's always important to have a look around, because maybe in front of you have a penguin colony and the beautiful penguins are going on the highway, etc., but possibly there is a leopard seal hunting for a penguin right behind you. So always, even though there are lots of things happening. Just have a look around you, look where the sun is, and try to look for the most interesting behavior. Recently, I was on Falklands, and I loved the mating dance of the black-browed albatrosses. It's one of the most beautiful things I saw in the nature. So yeah, just try to capture those open beaks, how the birds are dancing next to each other, and all this kind of interesting behavior will look absolutely wonderful on the photos.
And what we're going to talk about video in a little bit, but yeah, capturing that type of behavior with the video on your phone also is a great memento. But I'll leave you guys talk about that. But then in terms of focus and exposure tips, and Verena, well, you start, and then of course Jan can chip in. Talk us a bit about these tips.
Well, I guess all of you must be aware by now how to focus when you want to isolate something on your picture. You just tap on that object on your screen, and you will get that little square that is indicating that you are focusing on that. But what you may not know is that by sliding your finger next to that box, you can change the exposure of that picture to what you want to achieve as a result. So get it more light into the image, you slide it up, or the opposite, you slide your finger down. And then what is important is once you have made your selection, try to keep your phone as steady as possible to get your picture taken.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
I would like to add, if you focus and hold your finger on your subject for a bit, the focus will actually lock.
Yes.
So you can basically move with your cell phone. You will always have focus, in this case, on the flower, and you can help to find the proper composition. For example, if you have something bokeh, is the blurry part. So that's the part which is getting a little bit blurry. Imagine that you have some leaves of the tree, so you can lock your focus here and try to find the perfect composition with a little bit of leaves, then the flower, and like this you can use it very nicely. Also, with the exposure, always is better slightly darker, because if you will go too light, you can actually burn pixels, and those are data which you will never recover. If you will go a little bit darker, then you can always make it lighter, not working the other way.
And I think a top tip is playing around with your phone's functionality in the photos whilst you're at home with something simple like this, and really see how, by tapping on a different area, and as you were saying, Jan, bringing out different aspects, you can really play with that and get to know how it works, which I'm sure I know. Absolutely. I only use probably about 1% of my phone's functionality.
I clearly saw it when we were sailing, and we have a new product actually now as well, sailing in the northern Norway in the darkness. So I know it very well, because I had workshops for 400 people, and as soon as people were in the darkness and the northern lights came, it was just Jan, help me to set it. So yeah, know your device is super important.
Yes.
So in polar landscapes, we have lots of challenges. We have bright light. We might have dark if we're in Arctic Norway. The scale is really hard. So we've got these challenges. How do we address some of these? Jan, maybe if you could talk us through some of the challenge. We've done a bit of this, so it's a bit of repetition, but we're just sort of trying to drum some of these key things home.
If the light is very challenging, so that means there is a lot of strong sun going against you, etc. Just bring your subject slightly closer. Also, watch where the sun is coming from, and you cannot always capture the photos you have in your head, because sometimes the light conditions are just too challenging. So try to think out of the box, and sometimes try to find something which will block the sun in the certain moment. And maybe when the sun is coming a little bit from behind the corner and you are dark on the vessel and you have an iceberg somewhere, it's a good idea how to do it.
Excellent. And in terms of, light, we can bring out, playing with light. Verena, this is one of yours. Talk us about, how this photo is just drawing us in and almost making me motion sickness.
Yes. Well, actually, the night function on most phones nowadays is also amazing and allows you to capture images like this one just by, yeah, point and shooting, if I may say. But again, composition is important to frame what you're trying to get. But this one was taken just in on the passenger side of a vehicle driving on a very snowy road with with the night function. So super simple.
Excellent. Other sort of incredible functions of this panorama function that we have. When and why should we use panoramas, Jan?
We should use panoramas as long as we have a beautiful white scenery, which we are trying the reflections, of course, and Antarctica offers this very much. And always when you have a very white scenery, which is interesting and doesn't go too high, that means you don't have a 2,000, 3,000 meters tall mountains. And as on the first picture, I like when you have the mountain and the reflection all in the panorama. Once more, mobile phones are bringing us very simple tool how to actually make it. So you will basically take your phone, you go from a side to side, then it will be digitally getting all together. In 1 second, you have actually photo, which is perfect. You can do the same with the cameras. I'm doing it quite often, but it's much more hassle. So basically, cameras simplified without the external. You don't need external editing program to actually capture panorama. You just basically slide your hands over the landscape and it will be done.
Excellent. No, some great results there. Another one, Jan, you were talking about as well. We'll stick in terms of time lapse and slow mo. Talk us a little bit about through that and some of the tools that we can use.
I can leave slow mo for Verena maybe, or I will because I think that there was a waterfall or it was a light photo. Doesn't matter. Sometimes, especially when we are sailing in the narrow passages, it's actually quite cool to buy the tripod you see on the left side of your screen. Hopefully you don't have it mirror. So it's called Gorilla Pod, and you can put mostly anything on it. If you will put your mobile phone on the certain place on the vessel and set it to the time lapse, you will pick it up in 20 minutes and you will have a beautiful fast video of the passage. I did it many times and I know that some of our guests are really, really loving it. So that's the way how to use the time lapse, or you can make the whole video, then watch it at home. Absolutely up to your taste. Then it's your video to the right, the penguins.
Yeah. We're looking for one to demonstrate it. So yeah, some penguins.
Absolutely.
Always good fun watching penguins coming and going.
Penguins are like antidepressives.
Yeah.
I've said it on my social media video that everybody deserves 10 seconds of a penguin in a day, and it's blown up like 1 million views or something like this. So yeah.
Very well said.
Always plenty going on. And Verena, we're talking about sort of live photos, and again, we talked about the slow-mo and capturing images. Can you talk us a bit through the live photos and the sort of slow-mo effect, if you like?
Yes, well, I personally like the live photos function because it allows you then to create these frozen images, move or a kind of freezing movement in your image, like the image or like the example of the waterfall there. But other than that, you can also have little video sequences that you can easily share with other people. And you can also use that little video sequence to choose the perfect image amongst that sequence of images. So if you want to try the waterfall thing, you have to take the picture in live mode and then choose to have the long exposure effect activated on the image itself. But it's again, just get your phone, get out, take images, play with all the functions, and see what works best for you.
Excellent. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So take home message is play with your phones and the functionality and use some of these top tips, and who knows where your photos will end up. Jan, you mentioned the Northern Lights and where you've been on board in the Arctic, and of course our trips coming up on MS Spitsbergen. How do our guests get the best Northern Light prints other than taking yours and our professional photographers' photos away with them?
So first, how actually the mobile phones are making the photo. Very often when you have those 3 seconds and 5 seconds there, actually your camera will take multiple photos and then the camera will stack them in a one final photo. So that's the reason why in darkness you have to actually hold it for a certain time. With Apple iPhones, you don't have an app inside your phone which allows you to play with the shutter speed, aperture, etc., etc. So if you want to have a professional Northern Lights photos, you have to download app, and on that app you can set your shutter speed. When you are in the darkness, you need longer shutter speed to capture the light, just simplifying. But from my experience, the best is to actually set night photo, put some subject in front of you, for example, person or piece of the ship, and just capture. And the Northern Lights will be happening behind you, and that will be actually captured on the photo as same as the stars and everything. So that would be my best way how to do it without the app. Best advice, yeah.
And cameras and phones really enhance the colours of Northern Lights, don't they? So you sort of like when you actually see them in real, that it doesn't stack up that effect. So yeah, amazing images, these amazing moving curtains. So yeah, hopefully the people up in Norway on these coming trips will have amazing viewings.
I believe so.
Yeah. Of course, the ability to edit photos is so easy in smartphones. Who wants to take this one? I think Verena, were these your photos?
No, it's Jan's.
Jan,
but
sorry.
Jan. Should I take it? Oh,
yes.
I'm stealing the thunder.
Don't worry, you're the professional. I'm just the amateur.
No, but you have great photos. We are in Salisbury Plains, South Georgia, and what is very cool about the cell phones. So very often, if you are in your library, there is an option button on the photo, and there is automatic adjustments. These automatic adjustments, it's not even editing. You're pressing one button, and usually the phone is changing a little bit the highlights and the shadows. So if it's a little bit overexposed, they will take the highlights down and put the shadows up, which will make better appearing photos. And of course, we have many apps. I'm using Lightroom for my photos from camera, but I'm using Lightroom for my mobile photography as well. You have a PixArt, you have a Canva, you have many free and paid apps. And actually these days you can change many things. There is even a tool which is called Delete Annoying People. How good it would be in your life. So You have a tool, you basically tap on a person and the AI will delete the person, which of course is a good thing, at least for me. Natural colors, don't use heavy filters. And the rest, I believe most of you know, and you can use it the same like on your desktop computer.
Excellent. And we were talking about some video footage, Jan. We've talked about how easy the phone is to use and those advantages, and it's the stabilization and great memories. I know we've got a couple of slides, so I don't want to sort of dwell on this one, but it talks a bit about the videos functions on the phone and how to get our best.
Very simple. I'm usually shooting kind of short documentary movie from every voyage, and everything what I do is capturing interesting videos, which takes 10 to 15 seconds. Then I put music below, and then I put them chronologically behind each other, creating a movie. And this cell phone has a probably better stabilization, or definitely better stabilization than most of the cameras. So you can do the same when you're going on a trip with us. Make few videos on the airport, make few videos when you're entering the vessel, when you are start sailing, when you are on the different landing site. You can add titles, you can slightly change the colors, or always have a grid line and make sure that your pictures, your videos are actually leveled. You can always choose the best resolution, 4K, you can have. And at the end of the day, for example, iPhone has a free app called iVideo. You will just put all the videos next to each other. You will crop them a little bit when it doesn't look good. And then you will put some music and it will be absolutely fantastic movie, which you are able to send your friends and basically visually, virtually take them through your voyage. And I'm usually saying it to all of my guests. If you take 60 or 120 FPS, a little bit technical, frames per second, you can slow it down. So if you have there the leopard seal hunting a penguin, you will take it on 120 FPS, you can slow it down and you will see all the beautiful movement, I would say. So this is the way how you can actually capture your expedition movie. You will have lots of fun. Your partner or friend can say how beautiful it is to drink a rum on the Drake Passage to feel like a real sailor, etc., etc. You can be creative and you can have a fun, which is that's the spirit, to have a fun and to see the places.
That's a really good point. It's all about fun and enjoying it and taking away some
Absolutely.
amazing memories to remember the fun and share.
Exactly.
We've got some bits about some. This is again Jan, but this is a useful resource, smartfilmschool.com, which again is reiterating everything that Jan and Verena have already said. We
Absolutely.
do have, or you can have, multiple accessories. We've got Ollie featured here. And also Jan, but Verena, do you want to talk us a bit about the vital accessories for your smartphone?
Well, if you are using mainly your phone, we highly recommend you to get some way of attaching it to your person so that you don't lose it over the railing of the ship or during the cruising. So it's very important to have it attached to you. Also to protect it from splashing water if the weather is a bit rough. A dry bag is essential, so you can just put it in and protect it. But nowadays there are so many different lenses and things that you can attach to your phone. And this one is actually one of Jan. So maybe Jan, you want to give a little bit more detail into this one. But yes, attach your phone and protect it is super important.
Absolutely. Thank you, Verena. I'm actually very often, because I'm kind of working on a social media, very often receiving emails like, could you test this? It's such an amazing photographing tool, this lens on your cell phone. And for the last 5 years, it was always terrible. So I would never tell you actually buy something like this. But these days, I was actually testing 135 millimeters long lens from Zeiss. Oh, sorry, 200 millimeters long lens from Zeiss. And these photos are 100 megapixel. That means that they are very, very large, lots of resolution, and they are captured on the cell phone with that lens. And I was trying to focus a little bit on the details and also on the mountains in Paradise Bay. And I was surprised with the quality we actually are having here. And I will be printing some testing prints in a size of, let's say, 1 meter to 2, or something like this, 16 to 9, so 160 centimeters to 90. And I'm a little bit mind blown by the quality, because this is a serious photography, and we are definitely entering a new era, and there will be good tools. Another one, I was using sunglasses with the cameras on my last trips. It was, when we are talking about accessories, it was also very good quality of 4K cameras, which you can capture. The only con was that usually when you have a cold water splashing in your face, you turn the opposite side. But these days I was turning towards the water, because I was actually trying to capture the splashing of the water. But what I'm trying to say, it's worth it to do your research and maybe invest into the cell phone rather than expensive camera, if those things which we describe are something what you could be interested in.
And cameras, mobile phones are not cheap, but also, or the top of the range ones are not cheap, but certainly they're cheaper than some of the cameras kit that you guys have hanging around your necks. But Jan, we've been talking a bit about iPhone, but I think you've done a bit of testing of the different types.
These are two state-of-art mobile phones which were released this autumn. Left iPhone 17 Max Pro with the King Penguin, and left Android Vivo X300 Pro, which is with the elephant seal and King Penguins. Nothing to say. This is real photography. This is really good details, really good colors, and future is coming. So you will not make a mistake if you will buy either of those. And for me, it's slightly better to work with iPhone because of connectivity and everything. But it's not like iPhone has a extremely better camera than the newest Android phones. I don't think this is the case. So yeah, read the reviews and you will find everything on the internet.
Excellent. But please don't forget that on all our sailings, we have professional photographers. We've got Jan here and two in the background.
Yuri and Kai.
They will provide
Yuri.
Yuri and Kai. They will provide you with a logbook, and these are just examples of a trip from last year of some of the photos, usually around between 100 and 150 photos in a slideshow format, and also individual photos. So you will get those. These guys are there, know what to look for. They're doing it day in, day out, and incredible professional photographers. So always a real bonus watching the end of trip slideshow, seeing where you've been and what you've witnessed. We do have these. Jan and Verena recommend some of these tips if you want to look in further. We also, these QR codes will take you to some of those pictures, and if I can ask someone, maybe Ollie, to put this in the chat so our guests can take that away with them, or take a photo of the screen with your mobile phone. We also have had a series of webinars talking about different destinations. If you would like to watch or look further into the places we sail, then we have a library of webinars. But one particularly was our one on photography from back in August. So this is that right-hand QR code will take you there. And again, we can share these resources. Before we go to questions, just very quickly, as a thank you for listening in, if you would like to book a trip with us, then we are offering you a further 5% discount by using this code HX-webinars26. If you quote that when you call our call center, and they will help you. And there is a time limit on that, but to the end of the month, 28th of January. So please have a look in there. And also, if you're a member of our Explorers program, then you can get further discounts on photo printing at SUI or QE or however you say it properly. But yeah, there's opportunities for printing. And of course, depending on the size of your prints, then your mobile phones provide those perfect prints and those memories. But thank you very much. I'm going to ask Ollie to join us now and join us to answer some of our questions. So Ollie, over to you.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, great. Sorry, I thought I'd crash there. Fantastic presentation, guys. Thank you very much. Really interesting. I learned a lot during that, so I'm sure our guests also enjoyed it as well. But lots of questions that came through, and brilliant to have our team in the background answering those. So thank you, everybody, for asking away. And I'll try and just capture some of the themes that we've had. In terms of editing, that was one of the hot themes. So yeah, and the question was really around what kind of apps our guests should use for editing. I think you mentioned at one point iVideo, but somebody said
iMovie.
Potentially you meant iMovie. Yeah, there you go. Right there.
No,
Just to
I
clear
made a
that one up.
mistake.
But yeah, any thoughts you have around preferable editing apps?
I believe that many of us are sometimes in the certain stage of our photographic journey trying to save some money, and I was doing it some time ago as well. At the end of the day, the best program is Lightroom, which is from Adobe. And at the end of the day, I believe that the mobile app is like 10 euros, 10 pounds or something like this a month. And I believe that it's a best app to use for your photos. And for your videos, for Apple users, I wouldn't be scared to use iMovie, which is completely free. And you want to do the basics. You want to crop the videos, cut them a little bit, maybe to put some music, put some titles, and all of these you will easily make in iMovie. And if it's not going to be enough, you will be happy to pay few extra bucks and get a little bit more professional. So yeah, iMovie and Lightroom from my perspective.
Great. And Brenna, what do you use for your editing on your phone?
Lightroom as well. Yeah. I mean, I have tried other programs, but the easy ways around Lightroom as well is what makes me keep on coming back.
Yep. Brilliant. Thank you. A lot of interest in the Northern Lights and photographing Northern Lights. No surprises there. We probably should have put that slide slightly earlier because we've got a lot of questions there. But yeah, just generally interested in your kind of top couple of tips around shooting Northern Lights on.
If you want to do it a little bit more pro, if you can see the square on my phone,
yep,
I can. It's a magnet, and I can put this magnet in the tripod. So there are ways how to actually stabilize your phone. Download the app, which allows you to play with the shutter speed, and then do it the proper way, which means tripod, camera, longer shutter speed. But as I said, some of the phones, if you will hold them for 3 seconds in the night mode, they will make 20 photos, stack them together in one, and actually highlight, enhance the photo. So those are two possibilities. Both of them are quite nice. And for our sailings, the ship is very often moving when you're capturing the Northern Lights. So sometimes it's even better the night mode because it's actually kind of counting that you will be moving certain way.
Fantastic. Thank you. Brenna, any tips from your side on Northern Lights?
Well, Tudor already mentioned also the cameras do an amazing job in highlighting the colors. But yeah, if I also have a magnetic case that allows me to hold or to fix my phone to a tripod. So I would also recommend that very, very much. Or even this one, you can use it itself as a
Oh yeah, cool.
with the ring. You can use it as a tripod by itself. So this kind of cases are also very practical.
Or the best tripod, duct tape.
Yes.
Captain,
The
my
cheapest
pocket's
one.
And
so
the
happy with
cheapest.
duct tape over here.
Don't do it, please.
I think you mentioned a particular brand. Was it Gorilla? Yeah.
The Gorilla Pot is really, really good, and I was checking. It's not a big deal if you put it on the railing, and that's actually a good idea because the Gorilla Pots can easily hold cell phones, and that's probably the cheapest, best option for our sailings in Northern Norway.
Great. And Jan, we had that great photo of your 200mm camera phone lens, and I think people missed the kind of brand or
so
how
that's
you
the
use
thing.
that, so.
It's Zeiss. So that's the reason why it's so good, because Zeiss is very famous German brand of microscopes and photography optics.
Yes.
And these days they collaborated with a company which is called Vivo. So if you will write Vivo phone with Zeiss lens, you can buy this setting. I believe that it was around £1,000. So I'm not saying that it's cheap, but it wasn't as expensive as iPhone, and it's a brand new thing. So there was some discount at the beginning. So this one I would definitely, if you are like interested in wildlife but don't want to carry the big lens and want to try something like this, I think that you will have fun.
And also good zooms, Jan, they are also quite expensive. So
Absolutely.
it is within the range of a good zoom.
True. Absolutely true. But you must know there is a quite lever. There will always be lever because it's a metal lens in the L shape on the cell phone. But I was trying it and I had fun, and the photos are outstanding. Absolutely.
Yes.
I think that's the thing, to have as much fun with the photography as possible, isn't
Absolutely.
it? And that's what it's about. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Exactly. I see one, Oli, if I may, from Amanda Weiss asking how to avoid the little green dots that show on the photos. That is very often reflection. So if you are zooming in, what you can try to do is create a shadow over your objectives to avoid that light. But if you cannot, if you're shooting wide angle, what you can use is, at least on iPhones, you have a function to clear the image. So if you click on clear, you can then select the blue-green dots on the image and they will disappear. Like Jan was mentioning that on some programs you can delete a non-wanted person from your picture, but you can also use that function to get rid of those dots.
Yeah, brilliant piece of advice. I also like the one around if you're seeing a moving animal like a whale, and you're best off just taking a video and then using the still of that. So that's also a great tip. Yeah. Sorry, go on, Jan.
Yes.
Just agreeing. Thank you. Right, we have a question around different cruises and photography of how close our guests are able to get to different animals and what we can expect to see. Obviously, we have a number of different destinations, so that varies quite wildly between the likes of Antarctica, Greenland, and Galapagos. Perhaps you could talk to Antarctica first, maybe Jan, and then Verena, if we could go to Galapagos.
So in Antarctica, one of the general rules is not closer than 5 meters from the wildlife, usually on the beaches, unless you're very lucky that humpback whale is bumping into your zodiac, like it's happening sometimes to us, usually in February in Antarctica. So usually from penguins, 5 meters, slightly further from elephant seals, different stages of the season. Of course, when they are mating, you want to be further away. But in general, Antarctica is very wildlife friendly for experiences. It's absolutely outstanding, beautiful, most amazing place in the world. And Tudor,
If I can
Galapagos,
continue with Galapagos, I would say it's even more impressive in terms of how wildlife is so team and it approaches you. You even have to be careful not to walk on wildlife in some instances. You both have been there, Ollie and Tudor, so you can confirm this. Yeah, so there, one of the pictures that we showed during the webinar was just by putting my phone upside down, like Jan suggested, under a rock, and there was this beautiful bird nesting. Yeah, it's the long-tailed tern. So yeah, it's Galapagos. It is the wildlife approaching you, not the opposite.
What I would say, polar bears, then there is a big distance. So, and bird photography, wildlife photography, then zoom lenses or some
Yes,
form of zoom are very much needed.
or
but
binoculars.
yeah, and one of the improvements, MS Spitsbergen actually receive absolutely outstanding camera. So you can actually, when they have a polar bear, you can later sit in the lecture hall and you can count the teeth and the hair of the polar bear, because we have a state-of-the-art camera, and you will actually see them super cool, nice, close.
Gyro stabilized system, also known as Cineflex.
Oh yeah.
That's a whole different ball game.
Oh yeah, slightly
Yes.
different.
We've also got a guest commenting on Alaska, on wildlife there and photography there. So would either of you or Tudor be able to comment on that, please?
Yeah, I think similar. You don't get that wildlife abundance like in Antarctica or the Galapagos or even Svalbard, but definitely, the bears and the birds. You are getting relatively close, but again, it depends. We're not in a zoo, but again, with the safety and keeping to the approach distance is really important, so we don't disturb their behavior. But I would say, the zoom lens sort of aspect of wildlife photography in Alaska is very, very true.
Great. We're running out of time, so I'll go to a final question, perhaps for Jan. Just what's your best tip on taking photos of whales, given your experience? There can't be many better people in the world to comment on this. So
that's a tough one. Just watch the behavior. And the most common whales we are meeting most of the time are humpback whales, which you are looking for breaching or for fluking when the beautiful tail is visible. So find the burst option on your cell phone. Very often it's when you're pulling your trigger on the side or your button on a side, it start to take photos, and then you can choose from 50 photos, etc. Just watch the behavior, because our marine mammal specialist would kill me if I would say that sometimes the whales can be boring, because from photography point of view, like, to live the experience is amazing, but sometimes from photography point of view, it's a blob lying on the surface. So I would try to wait for the beautiful, interesting behavior, like fluking, and then I would take the photo. Verena would definitely say, put it in the happy whale.
Yes.
Yes. if you have a
Absolutely.
fluke, put it in the happy whale, and if you will be lucky, you can actually name it, for example, Jan or
Happy
something
Wheels, an
like
app
that.
where you can track
Yes,
whales by their flukes,
exactly.
just in case people
Citizen
don't.
science.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're just over time, so thank you everybody for joining today. Much appreciated, and thank you very much to our panel of hosts. That's been absolutely amazing content, so really appreciate
For
it.
the guys working hard in the background.
And for the guys in the background as well. And we will send you a recording via email in the next day or two. So please enjoy that at your leisure. And the only final thing to be said is that a little survey will pop up for feedback. If you wouldn't mind giving us some feedback, we'd very much appreciate that, so that we learn for future editions of our webinars. But otherwise, that's it. So we'll close out the webinar. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
Have
you,
so much.
fun with your
Have a
photography.
great time.
Thanks.
Bye.
Good luck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bye.